Today's shoot is high fashion meets creepy ghost town. Love this. Hello everyone, I'm Melissa New and welcome to this week's episode of Framed. So this photographer is young, she's an amazing educator, and she is one heck of a photographer. Let's do this. Hi, Lindsay.
Hi.
So, are we like hanging out in your New York apartment, or where are we?
No, this is a lot cooler than my apartment. We are at the Nelson Ghost Town, and it is so cool.
Oh, it's awesome.
I mean, it's not that I want everybody in the world to come shoot here because I want to shoot here, but it is like a photographer's playland.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like a little. It's amazing. It's awesome. I talk about myself a lot in interviews, but I also blush when it's like funny stories.
Yeah.
I was a very interesting character because I was a nerd, I was valedictorian, and I was the kind of person, people who know me say, you're the hardest working person ever. I've mellowed out so much. Let me tell you. I remember when I was, oh God, this is embarrassing, but when I was 12, I had a nervous breakdown because I hadn't accomplished enough in my life at 12. I'm being totally serious. You can ask my mom.
Lindsay.
I've actually mellowed out, and so I feel relaxed when I'm working this hard because this is how I've always been.
That's who you are.
I discovered photography when I was 13. And how it started, it was a way to spend time with my mom and my grandma, actually, because they both did it for a hobby. And we lived on a farm, so I mean, there's anything and everything to take pictures of, you know, cows and mushrooms and anything you want.
Mushrooms?
One of my first favorite pictures that I had was a mushroom, and I called it Fungus Among Us. I have no idea why. You're 13,
Nice.
like whatever.
Awesome.
So that's what I started doing, and then I guess this is true of everybody. Either you find your calling, or also when you're getting positive reinforcement, you pursue something. And you know, in the beginning, my mom and people that had shown my pictures said, you know, this is something you should consider. And so I let it grow, and I'm lucky for two major reasons. One, my family was endlessly supportive because my mom, she doesn't really like her job. It's a 9 to 5, and if you're spending every day of your life doing your job, you are 9 to 5, and it's not what you love, it's not what fulfills you, it's not working to an end goal that is you, then you're spending your life for somebody else.
Right.
And so she said, don't do that. Do what fulfills you. So she was supportive. And the second thing, I was lucky because I guess I pretty much decided around age 15. And so I started my business at 15. So people are like, oh, you know, you're young, it's new. And I'm like, I've been running my business for over 10 years.
That's 11 years.
Yeah, so I'm
Wow.
lucky. And I know I'm lucky. I mean, my sister, it took her a long time to find her calling and seeing that struggle. And it's great for me. I had what I wanted to do, and I could get there because I knew where I was going.
It's amazing. Okay, sister, we are here at the Nelson Ghost Town, and you've got a hot little mama model right here. What are you gonna do?
Okay, so I have a bunch of ideas. Really what it was for me is the location. I saw the location, and from that, I just let the inspiration flow. I'm looking at it, what came to my mind, what would look best, the textures, the feeling of it. And so basically what I came up with was the idea of two girls, she's the one I have right now, maybe sisters, something basically just lost in time. First thing I'm going to do here is I have her backlit, and the light's going to kind of wrap around her, but I'm going to try first where it's backlit hair against something darker behind her, so it kind of pops her out. So let me just try a few shots here. All right, you look beautiful, and we'll see if I even need any fill light. Perfect, let me take a look. So for this, I'm shooting at 1.4. But that's really, really narrow depth of field. And so if she moves a little bit, it's going to go out of focus. So what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to close down a little bit. I'll probably close down maybe 2.2. And so what I'm doing, I have her hair. It's going to be tack sharp on her. But then all that in the background, it looks noisy. It'll just be a suggestion of the background, setting the mood, setting the moment, setting the scene here. Beautiful. Perfect. I'll have you lean forward a little. Good. And chin down. Perfect. And can you put one hand up in your hair for me? And just real soft kind of on the edge. Good, you're just looking good. Good. And I'm gonna back up just a little. Good, and stand up a little straighter for me again. Good, just like that. And stand real straight, kind of like you're, yep, looking for your sister, looking for somebody perfect. Stay right there.
Why fashion photography? What is it?
There's no rules, and nobody has expectations of what it should be.
Yeah.
And what's funny, I never considered myself an artist for like a really long time because I was the nerd, and I was the person that did really well in school, and like I didn't take art classes, and because it wasn't something I even considered until I found photography, and it just clicked. And so when I started going to college, like, okay, this is what it started: nature photography, portraits, then photojournalism, then portraits and fashion. I spent my time trying each of those things. And it was basically when I got to fashion that I said, this is what fits, because nobody is putting their rules or their perceptions on me. It's the closest thing to other art that there is. And then the other thing too, maybe it was a bias against fine art photography, but I wanted to shoot and create work that wasn't necessarily just for me, it was for me and someone else. Mm-hmm. So I was, if I had a client, I was telling their story, I was selling their brand, or whatever it may be. I guess I liked that challenge. I like that challenge to show my vision and to communicate what someone else wanted as well. It's like, I don't know, it's cool, it's challenging.
That is so cool. Well, what's interesting about the fashion industry is people say that it's so hard to make money and you have to put a lot of your time and donate your time. Yeah. How are you surviving?
Well, okay, so a couple things related to that. That part about doing stuff for free, that like you do a lot of stuff for free. For example, I shot a fashion editorial with this designer who I really liked her jewelry. And it was completely free. I put a ton of effort into it. I spent my own money. I showed her the shots, and then she booked me to shoot her campaign and whatnot. So that's best case scenario. Yep. That's what you want to happen. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't always happen. Mm-hmm. Actually, a lot of times it doesn't happen. For me, let's put it, not how I'm surviving now, but how I survived in the beginning, was not who I know, like, doesn't mean like who I was related to and whatever, but it was also who I made myself known to. So for example, I met this stylist and I started working with her, and she knew that I was a hard worker. She respected me and knew that I created good work. And so when somebody said, hey, I need a photographer, she recommended them to me. And because she worked with professional athletes and singers and celebrities and whatnot, she started sending them my way. Yeah. So it's about being a good business person, being a good artist, and people are going to recommend you in that way. I wouldn't have been able to get started, at least move to New York, without her support, financially at least.
Yeah.
So,
wow, cool.
she's awesome. So in a fashion editorial, I don't want every single shot to look the same. There are editorials that look like that, but usually for something like this, on location, I'm telling a story. So I need to shoot I think of it like a movie almost. You get your establishing shot. What is the scene? What is the mood? Then you come in, you get a little bit of personality, a closer up shot where you start to connect with the subject, and then really tight beauty shots. Well, I don't really have my ambiance, my scene setting shots, so I'm going to shoot that here. And I have this backlight still coming through. You can see the beautiful halos on this cactus. Looks gorgeous, so I'm going to shoot that while I still have the light. I'm going to shoot a wider scene, and we have our second model to introduce into the scene as well. So the theme of the shoot that I wanted to have was a lot of it was backlit and soft, and if you look, our sun's kind of disappearing. So I'm going to have to improvise and create my own backlight, my own lens flare. So something that I've discovered is you can create, even if there's a little bit of backlight, you can emphasize that and create that lens flare if you use tools. For example, this random spring ornament from Michaels. It is translucent, it is yellow. I stick it in front of my lens, and because I'm shooting, right now I'm shooting at 2.0, and I'm overexposing, and I stick it right in front of my lens. It takes some of that light, it diffracts it around, and just makes it soft. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fake my lens flare. So, just like that's perfect. Just like that. And relax your forehead just a little.
How do you get your work in magazines?
Okay, good question. So how do you get my work in magazines?
Yeah.
What I did is I started, start at the very beginning. Let's start at the no professional models, no professional hair and makeup, beginning, doing
Just
everything
you.
myself.
Just you.
I created images that didn't require good hair and makeup and good models. So I would buy return clothes from wherever.
That's funny.
Yeah, whatever, pick cool clothes,
Right.
pick it out. And then I would do shots where the subjects were wearing glasses or a hat, or it was in shadow, so their faces didn't matter. And it was about the concept, the lighting, whatever. I did a lot of silhouettes where I would Photoshop in elements of the silhouette, so it became really graphic and really interesting. So basically from there, once I had interesting photos, I started approaching models or people that were more attractive that I could kind of work with as models. And then once I had them in my shots, I could approach hair and makeup and say, look, I have good light, I have good people. Then they would work with me. And this is Model Mayhem or local salons or whatever. And then the last step was I have good hair and makeup, I have good models, I have great light, good composition, good storytelling, whatever. Wardrobe stylists, would you like to come work with me? I started off publishing in online magazines. I would go to a site, for example, I recommend people do this as well, like Issue, ISSUU, and MagCloud. And these sites have online magazines that are either printed or it's a platform for online magazines. You can search fashion. And there are hundreds of online fashion magazines, and that's your place to start getting published, start getting your tear sheets, start getting published in a way that you want to, because these are very flexible. So it's a good time for you to show your vision, and they don't require you to have all the high-end designers or anything like that. Okay, skipping forward, once you have the quality work, how I get in, right now I'm shooting a lot for Zinc magazine, I shot for Bullet magazine, some really cool magazines. Speaking of Brooke, who you had on the show too, she was in Bullet.
Yeah.
I love her.
You love her.
Sorry, we're
Side
good friends.
note.
I love her. We connect. We're both a little wacky, but yeah, that's cool. But for Zinc, for example, it's two-part. One, it's you shoot a lot on spec, and you submit. And you submit, and you will get rejected, and you will get rejected, and rejected until sometime you're not rejected. That's part of it. I would say, no joke, for every 200 emails that I send out, handful of responses. And I'm a good photographer. It has nothing to do with it. It's about networking. So that's the second part. Okay, so the first part obviously is you send, you know you get rejected. The second part is I find ways to get those people to know who I am. And that sounds like just really vague, but it is vague because it depends on each person how you're going to get them to know who you are. So for example, you might find a magazine editor and you send them messages and you try to call them and they don't respond. So maybe you find them on Twitter and you pay attention to what they're talking about. And then someday you're like, oh, you know what? I have something really interesting to say about whatever topic they're talking about. And you tweet at them. And then you send them a message and say, hey, I just wanted to follow up when we were talking about Twitter. It was really interesting. And then eventually they start to know your name. So maybe when you call, they take that call from the secretary. Maybe when you email, they read that email. And so it depends. I mean, literally every person's going to be different how you target them, but you find a way. And so that's, you know, that's how I did it. I made myself known to the editors of different magazines. So eventually it was like, hey, you know what? You can shoot for us.
Love it. That is awesome advice. You are a fabulous educator. You do so well of talking about what's going on in your head and bringing it out to the people.
I just talk a lot.
You just talk a lot. No, but you talk about very good things, and you've been educating all week, and you just educated us thoroughly. You're very good at instruction. What are you wanting to do with your education? Do you want to go teach? Actually, better question.
Okay.
Educate these viewers right here. When you go around and you educate, what is the one thing that you think people, photographers, need to hear the most?
Okay, definitely. Can I talk to them? What camera do I talk to? That one?
Right.
Okay, awesome. I guess the thing that I want people to know most is that there's so many things that you're told that you need to know, you need to learn, you need to buy, that it has nothing to do with any of the stuff you can buy. It's not the equipment, it's not your techniques that make you stand out. It is 100% your ideas and your passion, how you approach it. It has nothing. I have good equipment, but you can give me a crappy camera and crappy studio equipment. It doesn't matter what it is, and I can make a good image because it's my ideas. And that doesn't just mean me, it means you too. So I'm not trying to say don't come to my workshop, don't go to other people's workshops, don't go and learn, because what they do is they teach you to pull out of yourself what is already there. You don't know it's there, and they reveal it to you. And so maybe there's a new piece of equipment that somebody says, oh, you got to try this, whatever. You don't need it, I guarantee you. But if it inspires you and it pulls out of you the ability to produce some crazy image, then maybe you do need it. So I guess I would just say, approach everything in photography knowing that it's about you pulling more out of you. And I really would recommend people look at other photographers or other artists. Don't even look just at photographers. Look at their work and figure out what inspires you. What is it that draws you to their work, and how can you integrate that into what you're doing? After you figure that out, if it's the equipment that you need to do that, okay, then you can actually justify that. If it's education, whatever it may be, find a way to make yourself a better photographer, because it's you, it's not somebody else or equipment.
Education. Love it. Lindsay, you're amazing.
Thank you.
Really are.
It was great talking with you.
I cannot wait to see what happens when you're 36.
Oh God.
Because watch out, world.
long time.
That's old.
No,
That's
it's a
like
long.
me in like 3
no,
years.
no, it's
Y'all.
it's a long time, and I know. When I watch this when I'm 36, and be like, it was gone. It was gone. It was
Totally.
there instantly.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah. Let's say I'll be upbeat and say I'm really excited to see where I am too.
Me
Go that
too.
direction.
Well, let's
Awesome.
hang out when you're 36 and I'm 47 or something. And we'll see where we both are. But thank you so much for educating today. You're amazing.
It was great talking with you, and thank you for making me feel awesome.
You are awesome.
My name is Lindsay Adler. I'm a fashion photographer, and I've just been framed.
Frame Season 3 was brought to you by Bay Photo Lab. Like the music? Special thanks to Triple Scoop Music. Frame Network giveaways are brought to you by B&H. Head to giveaways.framenetwork.com for your chance to win. Find out more about the equipment used in this episode on framenetwork.com.
On the next episode of Framed. Head to FrameNetwork.com and create your Passport login to gain exclusive access to Framed and your favorite shows, only on Flix.